Shalom, 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 everybody, man. Welcome back. Welcome back to Reading with Shilo. It's Shilo. How y'all doing today? Tonight, man, I hope everybody having a nice night. We are back with the next edition of The Souls of Black Folk by Mr. W.E.B. Bois. And we are on chapter 7. We are moving right along. We are almost halfway done with the book. We are almost halfway done with the book. And chapter 7 is of the black belt. Of the black belt. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna dive into it and see what we can learn and grow from Mr. W.E.B. Du Bois. Hopefully he's gonna tell me something good. Tell me something good. Ow. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. Hopefully he does. Hopefully it's something that we can use and apply to our lives. Hopefully something that we can maybe make some corrections if need be to our lives, adjustments. Maybe it's something that made us think that maybe we need some more training. Some more training or something like that. Yeah. But let's get into chapter 7. Chapter 7 of The Souls of Black Folk, man. Of The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois. Look at that man. Look at that man. Look at him. You see him? Look at him. I say, man, they don't wear their hair like this no more. They want to get a hair unit now. Women, they made boy ashamed of that. But back in the day, they used to be manliness right there. It don't matter if you're going bald. God say if you're going bald, he forehead bald. He's still clean though. Yet is he clean? Yeah. Chapter 7 of the black belt. And I really don't know what this is about. I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Look not upon me, because I am black, because the sun had looked upon me. Mine own vineyard have I not kept. Song of Solomon. That's 1 and 5. 1 verse 5 and 6, I think. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5 and 6. I'm surprised they put that in here. Yep, verses 5 and 6. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verses 5 and 6. Out of the north, the train thundered, and we woke to see the crimson soil of Georgia stretching away bare and monotonous right and left. Here and there, laying straggling, unlovely villages, and lean men loafed leisurely at the depots. Then again came the stretch of pines and clay, yet we did not nod nor weary of the scene, for this is historic ground. Right across our tracks, 360 years ago, wandered the cavalcade of Hernando de Soto, looking for gold and the great sea, and he and his footsore captive disappeared yonder in the grim forest to the west. Here sits Atlanta, the city of the 100 hills, with something western, something southern, and something quite its own in its busy life. And a little past Atlanta, to the southwest, is the land of the Cherokees. And there, not far from where Sam Jose was crucified, you may stand on the spot which is today the center of the Negro problem, the center of those 9 million men who are America's dark heritage from slavery and the slave trade. Not only is Georgia thus the geographical focus of our Negro population, but in many other respects, both now and yesterday, the Negro problems have seemed to be the center in this state. No other state in the Union can count 1 million Negroes among its citizens, a population as large as the slave population of the whole Union in 1800. No other state fought so long and strenuously to gather this host of Africans. Oglethorpe thought slavery against law and gospel, but the circumstances which gave Georgia its first inhabitants were not calculated to furnish citizens overnice in their ideas about rum and slaves. Their descendants, of rum and slaves. Despite the prohibitions of the trustees, these Georgians, like some of their descendants, proceeded to take the law into their own hands, and so pliant were the judges, and so flagrant the smugglers, and so earnest were the prayers of Whitefield, that by the middle of the 18th century, all restrictions were swept away, and the slave trade went merrily on for 50 years or more. Went on merrily for 50 years or more. Down in Darien, where the legal riots took place some summers ago, there used to come a strong protest against slavery from the Scotch Highlanders and the Moravians of Ebenezer did not like the system, but not till the Haitian terror of Toussaint was the trade of men even checked. While the national statute of 1808 did not suffice to stop it, how the Africans poured in 50,000 between 1790 and 1810, and then from Virginia and from smugglers, 2,000 a year for many years more. So the 30,000 Negroes in Georgia in 1790 were doubled in a decade, where over the 100,000 in 1810 had reached 200,000 in 1820 and 500,000 at the time of the war. Thus, like a snake, the black population withered upward. But we must hasten on our journey. This that we pass as we leave Atlanta is the ancient land of the Cherokees, the brave Indian nation which strong so long for its fatherland until fate and the United States government drove them beyond the Mississippi. And if you wish to ride with me, you must come into the Jim Crow car. There will be no objection. Already, 4 other white men and a little white girl with her nurse are in there. Usually the races are mixed in there, but the white coach is all white. Of course, this car is not so good as the other, but it is fairly clean and comfortable. The discomfort lies chiefly in the hearts of those 4 black men yonder in mine and in mine. We rumble south in quite a businesslike way. The bare red clay and pines of northern Georgia began to disappear, and in their places appears a rich rolling land, luxuriant, and here and there well tilled. This is the land of the Creek Indians, and a hard time the Georgians had to seize it. The town grows more frequent and more interesting, and brand new cotton mills rise on every side. Below Macon, the world grows darker, for now we approach the Black Belt, that strange land of shadows at which even slaves paled in the past, and whence come now only faint and half intelligible murmurs to the world beyond. The Jim Crow car grows larger and a shade better. 3 rough field hands and two or three white loafers accompany us, and the newsboy still spreads his wares at one end. The sun is setting, but we can see the great cotton country as we enter it. The soil now dark and fertile, now thin and gray, with fruit trees and dilapidated buildings, all the way to Albany. At Albany, in the heart of the Black Belt, we stop, 200 miles south of Atlanta, 200 miles west of the Atlantic, and 100 miles north of the Great Gulf lies Dougherty County, with 10,000 Negroes and 2,000 whites. The Flint River winds down from Andersonville, and turning suddenly at Albany, the county seats, hurries on to join the Chattahoochee and the Sea. Some of these names, boy, I'll be wondering sometime where they got some of these names from, like the Chattahoochee. I think that's an Indian name. But still, Chattahoochee. Andrew Jackson knew the Flint well and marched across it once to avenge the Indian massacre at Fort Mims. That was in 1814, not long before the Battle of the New Orleans, and by the Creek Treaty that followed this company, all Daughtry County and much other rich land was ceded to Georgia. Still, settlers fought shy of this land, for the Indians were all about and they were unpleasant neighbors in those days. The Panic of 1837, which Jackson bequeathed to Van Buren, turned the planters from the improvised lands of Virginia, the Carolinas, the impoverished, excuse me. The Panic of 1837, which Jackson bequeathed to Van Buren, turned the planters from the impoverished lands of Virginia, the Carolinas, and East Georgia toward the west. The Indians were removed to Indian territory, and the settlers poured into the coveted land to retrieve their broken fortunes. Ooh, I'm reading terrible tonight. I am reading terrible tonight. For the radius of 100 miles about Albany stretched a great fertile land, luxuriant with forests of pines, oak, ash, hickory, and poplar, hot with the sun and damp with the rich black swampland. And here the cornerstone of the cotton kingdom was laid. Oh, oh shit. Albany is to date a wide-streeted, placid southern town with a broad sweep of stores and saloons, and flanking rows of homes, whites usually to the north and blacks to the south. 6 days in the week, the town looks decidedly too small for itself and takes frequent and prolonged naps. But on Saturday, suddenly the whole county disgorges itself upon the place, and a perfect flood of black peasantry pours through the streets, fills the stores, blocks the sidewalks, chokes the thoroughfares, and takes full possession of the town. They are black, sturdy, uncouth, country folk, good natured and simple, talkative to a degree, and yet far more silent and brooding than the crowds of the Rhine fowls or Naples.